Mr. Christie's presidential ambition is the one thing he won't put in a tiny crate. But you know what? Maybe there's a deeper issue here. We're going to explore the pros and cons of gestation crates with newest Daily Show correspondent Hasan Minhaj representing Team Turnaround and relatively senior correspondent Jordan Klepper from Team...
One Direction.
Really? One Direction? Are you sure that's the name you want to...
Yeah, John, clearly I'm on the right side of this big thing. You know how many teenage girls have that the way it works? Nice.
All right, we're going to start with you, Hasan. Hasan, first of all, welcome to the show. We're awfully excited to have you. Let me ask you first. Why are you against the use of gestation crates?
Thank you, John. You know, John, farm animals give their lives to give us sustenance. And in return, do we not owe it to them to make their time on this earth, however brief it is, as dignified as possible? For when we brutalize the helpless creatures who depend on us, aren't we in fact brutalizing our own souls?
Oh my God, that was beautiful. Thank you so much, Hasan. Your turn, Jordan.
I don't think men should turn around. I don't like it.
You want to elaborate on that?
But more? Sure, John. They should be facing forward. Make sure they can't move. Pigs are fine clamped right in there.
Hasan.
Is this how the debates usually go?
I don't know.
It's my first day. Okay, let's see. I have a Bible verse here. I got poetry from college. Okay, okay, here we go.
You're like,
no. The great philosopher Immanuel Kant once said.
Here's what I got. When I eat bacon, I want to know it's been facing forward. That's where the flavor comes from.
Really? You can taste the difference between pork raised in crates where they can't move and pork raised more humanely. You can taste that.
Okay, probably not. I just don't like pigs facing different directions. They shouldn't move. It's a gut thing.
Final thoughts, Hasan.
I don't. Okay. I just want everybody to know that history will judge us by how we treat the creatures who serve us.
Jordan, close with you. No, it's nice. That's nice. That's nice. Jordan, why don't you try one?
Pigs shouldn't turn around. It's like Friday Night Lights. Eyes front, clogged hearts, can't move.
Hasan Minhaj and Jordan Klepper, everybody. That.
Jump Street now.
Hey.
Must-own Blu-ray includes 22 deleted scenes and over 100 minutes of extras. Damn! Now are you ready?
Photoshop on a tablet?
Yep, but it's not just a tablet, it's really a laptop. It's a Surface Pro 3 with a touchscreen.
Well, it can't be as fast as my Mac.
Sure it can, and it is.
But you probably can't plug anything into it.
I have a USB, mini display port, plug away. And this is my favorite. It's the kickstand.
So you're saying it does more than my Mac?
Well, technically, you said it.
When a news story falls through the cracks, Louis Black catches it for a segment we call Back in the
Next week is my favorite day of the year, Black Friday. Trample a guy on a Tuesday afternoon, you get charged with assault. But do it at a Walmart on Black Friday, you get a PS4. But this year, something about Black Friday is twisting everyone's panties.
Black Friday itself is turning into an entire season.
Do I hope Black Friday ends? Absolutely. I can't stand that day.
The event is becoming so long.
Starting Black Friday on Thanksgiving should be illegal.
Black Wednesday.
Great Thursday, Small Business Saturday.
Cyber Monday is the worst thing I've ever heard.
We might as well call it Black November.
What the hell are you complaining about? Oh no! Now blenders are on sale for a whole month! God, why have thou forsaken us? Nobody's forcing you to buy anything. You can shop. You cannot shop. You can do what we Jews do and wait until the day after Christmas when they're practically giving away. But there is one group of people who should be complaining.
What about the workers at these stores?
Yeah, when exactly do they get to celebrate Thanksgiving with their families?
Workers are upset.
Forced to work.
They keep saying that they care about their associates. That's not the case. The daughter of a Kmart employee asking Kmart to change his Thanksgiving hours so her mom can spend the day at home with her family.
I think we should all have the ability to say, I don't want to work Thanksgiving.
Well, personally, I'd much rather spend Thanksgiving at Kmart. Helping a fat guy shove his way into a pair of Crocs beats listening to his nephew explaining how he's allergic to bees. No, you're not nephew. You just don't like them. Nobody does. But you're gonna and eat them. But if this lady wants to spend Thanksgiving with her family, who can blame her? Turns out everybody.
They should be happy that they have a job to work at. What's wrong with a little capitalism? Everybody wants to open up on Thanksgiving. Let them open up on Thanksgiving.
Richard writes to us. He says, you gotta be kidding me, lady. Just go to work. You can celebrate by eating a turkey sandwich while on break.
Sure, Thanksgiving is just as good eating a cold sandwich alone in the back of a Kmart. You don't even need cranberry sauce. You can season it with your tears. But this year, it's not just employees getting screwed into working on Thanksgiving. It's the stores, too.
Stores at the Wellman Galleria have a tough choice this year. Open on Thanksgiving or possibly pay a lot of money in fines and penalties.
You're taxing stores for observing Thanksgiving? That's the most anti-American thing I've ever heard. It's like Sharia law for capitalism. Why don't you just kick George Washington in the nuts? But if no one cares when stores force employees to work on Thanksgiving, who's going to shed a tear when malls force stores to stay open?
A mall in upstate New York is strong-arming its retailers into opening on Thanksgiving. So much for the holiday spirit.
So, let me get this straight. You can't make a store open on Thanksgiving. It's just a poor, helpless corporation. But people? Punch in and shut the f*** up. You can see your family in January. John?
Thank you, Louis. Louis Black.
Because that's something special.
J'entends des chansons, c'est si bon.
Give the gift for those who fly beyond.
Dire des mots doux, mais qui en disent en l'âme.
One family with one passion to make a superior rum. Bacardi, untamed since 1862. What would you give someone who convinced you to follow your dreams with one cross-country road trip? The greatest gift for someone who gave you these moments is to give those moments back. Dewar's, the most awarded blended scotch in history.
Tonight, we've got a new film out called Interstellar.
Will you spend the night? The room is exactly as you left it. It's ready to start. I swear that she doesn't know this clean. I need to do any memories.
Oh, you might have some for that. Okay.
I have a friend who look at his lungs.
Open your mouth, boy. Let's go back to the program. Jessica Chastain! How are ya? Great to see you again. You're a busy person.
Oh my gosh, I'm so busy.
It's crazy busy.
Yes, but I'm really happy.
It's good, right?
It's
The gentleman in the audience asked me earlier, I thought this was interesting. He said, you're doing pretty well for yourself. Why do you keep working like this? And I really like, you know how normally you're just doing a warm-up. You're like, oh, yeah, I was born in November, you doing all that. And then somebody just cuts you
Yeah.
to the quick, and you're like, I don't know why I do it.
Someone said to me recently that you're working so much, I wonder where is the tenderness in your life? I was like, oh my gosh.
Where is the tenderness in your life?
Yes.
Was this a kindly old grandmother who said this?
It was a kindly Frenchman. So they had a French accent. Where is the tenderness in your life?
See, here's where I wonder about this. So here's a guy, Howie doesn't work that much. So he's like trying to make it seem like what he does is not cool.
Yeah.
Why don't you just sit and drink coffee all day?
Right, and spray perfume and
Exactly.
watch the sunset.
Where now have you spent a good deal of time? You spent a good deal of time in Europe.
I love Europe, yeah.
It's pretty.
And you just went to Italy.
I went to
Rome.
Italy last year. I went to Rome, and I went to. It was beautiful. I'd never been.
Special.
Have you ever been? I've been. I've traveled a lot in New Jersey.
I'm sorry, after watching that segment, I'm
Isn't that
so
crazy?
upset. I'm vegan too, so.
Are you really vegan? Now talk to me about that because
Yeah.
that's a move I don't know I can do. Here's my problem.
Okay.
I know it's bad. I know that the treatment is wrong. But my God.
You love the bacon.
And cheeseburgers. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So what do I
I don't
do?
necessarily think, I don't think eating meat is wrong. I understand, you know, some people eat meat and that's fine for them.
Right.
I think putting animals in cages where they can't turn around. What happens if you have an itch? You can't scratch an itch, you know? I mean, everything about it is terrible.
You know what I'd say to that pig? Where's the tenderness in that pig's
Where
life?
is the
Where is the
tenderness?
tenderness? But it is, you know, I was funny. I was talking to a gentleman earlier about this exact issue, and he seems to feel like he prefers his pigs to face in one direction.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I think you should put him in one of those pigs.
But it is, you know what I think it is? People, you're not aware. There
Yeah.
must be a way to balance this issue with agriculture, with the way that we eat, in a way that is healthier, not just for ourselves, but for the entire eating. There must be.
There must be. I mean, we just have to honor, you know, when you're eating food, sometimes you don't think of what's the history of where that food came from.
Right.
And what were the sacrifices that were made to, to give you sustenance.
Yeah, there's something.
And really, like, you know, for an animal to give its life so you can eat, that's one thing, and it's a beautiful thing, but you have to honor that animal's life.
Try and make it as don't make it.
Torture it. It's like we're going out of our way to torture it.
Right.
I don't believe it.
It is. You almost feel like they're designing something like, how do you raise your pigs? We sit on them. We just sit on them.
Yeah.
The whole lives, we just sit on them. Why does that help? Nah. I just like the way it feels to sit on them, that's all.
And they're so
Pigs are
cute.
smart too, and they're smarter than dogs.
They're smarter than dogs.
Right.
And I was told a pig is as smart as a 2-year-old and can use the computer. A very small computer. But, yeah.
What do you think a pig would Google? What?
Probably Christie's home.
Half away.
There's hundreds outside his house.
There's one farm keeps ordering copies of Animal Farm. I don't know what's going on here. It constantly wants to watch Animal Farm. It's ridiculous. Now this Interstellar is it's a beautifully complex and very interesting. You actually, you know what? I shouldn't give away. I don't want to give away things. So that's
okay.
I should do. You're in it.
I'm in it.
That may be as far as I want to go.
I play an astrophysicist.
You play an astrophysicist. You're not. Can I say that you're not in space?
I'm not in space.
She doesn't go to space.
Yes.
And can I say anything else? That's it.
No, you can say I play Matthew McConaughey's daughter.
She plays Matt. Really? I can say that because that feels a little plotty.
Don't get me in trouble now.
Okay. So she's an astrophysicist. She does not go to space, and she's Matthew McConaughey's daughter, and that's the whole story.
It's so good though.
It's really, yeah.
It's this like incredible space adventure, and the special effects are unlike anything you've ever seen. And there's this water sequence that I couldn't breathe because it's so intense. But the main part of it is about love, and about a father and daughter, and about the bonds of love.
But that's what I love a movie. Christopher Nolan does this very well. I love a movie that is about something, an exploration of something. Something that it's well, so you do that. The Batman was really about just a guy with really deep voice. But and you're going to space. You are going to be an astronaut soon, right?
Yeah, so my next film, I'm playing an astronaut for Ridley Scott in a book called The Martian. I don't know if you guys
Have you done the whole train? Did they spin you around in the thing?
Well, I was at JPL in Pasadena last week, and I got to see, I mean, that was the unmanned stuff. I got to see Curiosity Rover's twin and all those amazing things for Mars. And this week I get to go to Houston.
Then you're going to do the thing.
Well, I don't know what they're going to let me do. I'm going to try to do everything.
They're going to try and make you throw up.
I'm all about it.
All astronaut training is
Spinning you.
They spin you around and just go, you're going to throw up.
That's fine.
That's the whole training.
I love that everyone's focused on space exploration right now. I love that all these science
Can you imagine they landed
on a comet?
On a comet. And you know, here's the craziest part about it. Nobody knows this. This is Bruce Willis was on the program. But listen, I'm sorry to say this, and he gave his life.
No, don't
he did. Stop. He gave his life to it and just. I don't wanna close my eyes. I don't wanna fall asleep 'cause I miss you, babe. Interstellar is mine. All right, I'm sorry. Interstellar. It's in the theaters right now, right?
Right.
And that is not giving anything away.
See it on IMAX.
Why not? Jessica Chastain, everybody.
3 more days and then we're married.
You're coming to the party, right?
When family gets back together,
Hey, nice, please.
I always play nice.
there are no secrets
I mentioned that $5 grand, yo. When I get my income tax check, you gonna get it. You can't tax zero.
and no holds barred.
Well, for this earth, you just like that's crazy. You been here before, Whoopi?
Hi, Whoopi.
My niece.
Top 5.
It's gonna be sad.
Written and directed by Chris Rock. Rated R. Red Bull.
how these white people tell me.
Nothing's off limits.
You think you need right, serve, you want some of this, sir?
No, I'm good. And no one is safe.
I mentioned that $5 grand, yo, man. When I get my income tax check, you gonna get it. You can't tax C right now.
Top 5.
Look at this black man trying to get a cab taxi.
Rated R, December 12th.
Jack Link's Jerky presents Hangry Moments.
What's your kitty's name?
It's a puma.
Thank you. Jack Link's Jerky, the protein-packed way to feed your wild side.
Get more this Black Friday at Kmart. Doorbuster deals start at 6 a.m. Get up to 90% off engagement rings. Plus this 32-inch RCA TV for $179.99. And members get $40 back in points. Kmart, where members always get more.
Come on, show. Dress tomorrow night, 11. Here it is. What is that?
Oklahoma Governor Mary Fallon boarding a tank, ready to roll right over this doomed Nissan. Fallon's famous ride, this smashed-up sacrifice, are part of Wilson Gunn's grand opening weekend.
And then when we started crushing it, I could hear the metal crushing underneath.
Red Bull gives you wings.
What'd you guys get for Christmas?
Got that D, boy!
It's a pair of damp socks that will dry real slowly.
I'll tell you what your Christmas present was. Got dragged away some black demons.
Comedy Central's All-Star Non-Denominational Christmas Special. Thanksgiving weekend, Thursday through Sunday at 10.
November 18th, 2014. From Comedy Central's World News headquarters in New York, this is The Daily Show with Jon Stewart.
Oh, this is exciting. A young man named Benedict Cumberbatch is going to be great film, and he's great in it. But first, it has been a rough year for the president of these.
Whatever holiday you celebrate.
Star of David. I'm the one who looks Jewish.
Buns of steak.
Enjoy it.
Great. Merry Christmas and may the mistletoe be kind to you.
Comedy Central's All-Star Non-Denominational Christmas Special. Thanksgiving weekend, Thursday through Sunday at 10.
November 20th, 2014. From Comedy Central's World News headquarters in New York, this is The Daily Show with Jon Stewart.
Our guest tonight from the Theory of Everything, incredible performance. Eddie Redmayne is going to be joining us on the program tonight. But first, as you may remember, Democrats took a bit of a ball smashing in the midterm elections. But one Democratic senator still has a chance.
In Louisiana, Democratic incumbent Senator Mary Landrieu is facing a December runoff election against Republican challenger Bill Cassidy.
Her opponent's polls showed him up by 16 points, and another poll showed him up by about 20.
So, Senator Landrieu faces a runoff election with Bill Cassidy in much the same way a skier might face a runoff election with an avalanche. But the race isn't over yet. There's still time for one last Hail Mary, Landro.
The pipeline has been 6 years in the making, but the timing of the House and Senate votes were politics, pure and simple. The House bill was introduced by Louisiana Republican Bill Cassidy. The Senate bill by Louisiana Democrat Mary Landrieu.
Oh my God, that's so embarrassing. They both wore the same transparent ploy to Congress. It's just a shame. You know, the Keystone Pipeline's long been an environmental bugaboo. You can never pass the democratically held Senate unless they were willing to sell out a core constituency and vote for this Keystone Pipeline bill just to save one Senate seat. It doesn't even change the balance of power.
To boost Landrieu's chances at the polls, some of her fellow Democrats in the Senate dropped their opposition to the bill.
I just said that would be a stupid thing to do. So the party that lost the midterm elections because it didn't stand for anything has decided, oh, I got an idea. What if we stood for less? Or maybe they're right to drop their objections. What exactly is the Keystone XL pipeline?
The pipeline would send tar sands oil from Alberta, Canada to Nebraska, where it would hook up with existing pipeline to go to refineries on the Gulf Coast.
It would carry more than 800,000 barrels of crude oil a day.
Because apparently the old method of simply overnighting oil wasn't working out very well. Any project this large and controversial is bound to be complicated. So before we all make up our minds, I think we should hear the pros and cons. How many jobs would this project create?
We can build the Keystone Pipeline, creating thousands of temporary and millions of permanent jobs.
The CEO who runs the pipeline says there will be 35 permanent jobs.
Okay. Somewhere between millions of jobs and 35. So let's just say the Keystone Pipeline will create some jobs with a margin of error of almost all numbers. Although, just because something can create jobs doesn't mean it's a good idea. I mean, I'm sure you can hire at least 100 people to chisel dicks on Mount Rushmore. That doesn't mean you should do it, of course. Have you seen that? It's a big tourist attraction. And by the way, by saying this, I mean no disrespect to the bold men and women who work long hours at high altitudes and dangerous conditions, all to accomplish this incredible feat of engineering. May history never forget those that it knows only as Chisel Dicks. Their fascinating story is all in my new book, Chisel Dicks. The story of Mount Rushmore. Soon to be a major documentary filmed by Keith Burns, no relation. Tell me more about this pipeline.
Keystone Tar Sands Pipeline will be harmful to our family's health. It will hurt the environment.
The President's own State Department have found that the pipeline poses no meaningful risk to the environment. This gives us a chance to be more secure as a nation and more independent from foreign oil.
It does nothing for American energy security.
Great. So it looks like the Keystone Pipeline is either a 1,200-mile-long job-creating slip and slide made out of rainbows and children's dreams, or the Mississippi River-sized poison-laden urethra of Satan himself. The two arguments could not be farther apart. You have to assume that the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. I mean, odds are this will create some jobs and have some spills. What's one spill here and there?
One spill into our aquifer, it can spread miles. If our water is contaminated, we have no water for the cattle.
Well, that's a problem right there. You're still using them, them water-based cows. Your problem there is you got to upgrade got them the oil burning cows. Got that problem. There's the problem solved. Just got to get those cows. Do you smoke? You ever see those when you're driving? from both parties battled for hours to sway the pipeline votes, and apparently also to see if they could make the Senate's giant printer run out of toner and ink. You know, the saddest thing about that right there is the picture of polluted skies. I don't know if you see that picture. It says Senator Boxer made that aide hold that giant photo as though he were in. When there is very clearly a regular non-human easel just 2 rows back. It's upsetting. But I guess that's a win for the Republicans. Pipeline's not even built yet. Already created. Go. But here we go. It's Mary Landrieu that's got the most at stake here. So aside from the thousands of people who are about to live on enormous Pipeline Avenue, I'm sure she's got the strongest argument. Let's listen.
We've been building pipelines in this country before most of us were born. All of us were born. That's what's so outrageous about this debate.
And I say to you tonight, my fellow Americans, we need to return to doing things the way that they were before we were all born. Like slavery, bring that back. What am I even doing standing here voting like I was a man or something? We have lost our way. Return to how things were when we were not born. So we've always built pipelines. What's not the most convincing line of reasoning? What else you got?
What people in Louisiana want, what people in Texas want, what people in Mississippi want, what people in New Jersey want, what people in South Dakota and Illinois and Kansas and Vermont are good paying jobs.
Are you going to name them all? Are you going to name all the states? Because you realize, are there states that don't want good paying jobs? This bill would not be valid in Oregon. They just bag groceries and enter data through the rush. All right, so Landrieu's legislative life is on the line, bases loaded, bottom of the ninth. And the pitch.
The bill failed by 1 vote.
So close. But hey, it's like my dad always said, you're just not good enough. So that's it. Landrieu's almost certainly gone. The Keystone Pipeline's been voted down. Never to be seen again.
Republicans take over the Congress, the Senate in January. They will bring this up first order of business, and it will pass.
And when it does, somewhere, ex-Senator Mary Landrieu will be thankful that even though the pipeline didn't save her job, she can now apply for one of its 35 to millions of new ones. We'll be right back.
Reasons than ever why now is the best time to be on Verizon. 1. Verizon's the largest, most reliable 4G LTE network in the country. That's right, America. With XLTE in over 400 markets. 2. And here's something for families to get excited about. Our best ever pricing with double the data on select plans. And 3. You can now get our best ever single line pricing starting at $45. So get all this now on the network ranked #1 for data performance nationwide. Verizon.
Photoshop on a tablet? Yep, but it's not just a tablet, it's really a laptop. It's a Surface Pro 3 with a touchscreen. Well, it can't be as fast as my Mac. Sure it can, and it is. But you probably can't plug anything into it. I have a USB, mini display port, plug away. And this is my favorite, it's the kickstand. So you're saying it does more than my Mac? Well, technically, you said it.
January. The Keystone Pipeline faces one more very important hurdle.
In the case of the Keystone XL pipeline, its builder, TransCanada, is using the power of eminent domain to take hundreds of miles of private land from private owners.
Eminent domain, when the government forces private landowners to sell their property because it's needed for public use. Eminent domain, the legal doctrine empowering Eminem to take the property if he disses you in the property. Oh, sweet. Oh, spaghetti. The point is, I don't know the lyrics. The point is, a company that wants to build a pipeline through the United States needs more than just congressional approval. It also needs sign-offs from the individuals who own the land that the pipeline would cut across. I mean, TransCanada can't just lay pipe anywhere it wants to without permission. It's not Bill Cosby. It can't just... Besides, it's going to be a Republican Congress. Everyone knows how Republicans feel about eminent domain. Back in 2005, after that landmark Supreme Court case, Kelo, the government could take private land and give it to a corporation. If doing so might help the economy.
The power of eminent domain should not be used simply to further private economic development.
It's hardly a clear principle in all the Constitution that right of private property. So much for the constitutional guarantee that your property can only be taken for public use, not private use.
See, but this is different. Clearly, the Keystone Pipeline is not private use. It's public use. Anybody in America could drive their tar sand oil up to Canada and ship it back down that pipeline. Whether it be TransCanada, the private corporation that built it, or an average citizen with an excess of tar sand oil. And you know how Republicans felt when the government has tried to set aside land for alleged public good serving land.
We are going to take 3 million acres and deem it untouchable for further energy for this country. We're going to step all over private property rights in this nation.
God knows this country was not built on the principle taking land away from its rightful and original. Well, that's different too, though. You don't want to use eminent domain to conserve land, and it's clear Keystone Pipeline won't be doing that. I wonder how proponents of the Keystone Pipeline who hate eminent domain would square those circles.
I am disturbed about eminent domain abuse because I think private property rights are fundamental to who we are as Americans.
Go on.
The U.S. Supreme Court said clearly, I think, that the government should deal with private interest. I don't think we should be helping out private interest.
It sounds like, with everything you believe in the sanctity of private property and the Constitution itself, the problem with the Keystone Pipeline, then, is eminent domain.
The problem with the Keystone Pipeline isn't the issue of eminent domain. The problem is the Obama administration, with the stroke of a pen, shut the project down.
How did you get? Yes, the problem isn't the project I want undermining a constitutional principle I supposedly support. It's the president using his constitutional right to veto. The problem is the Constitution. Well, it's all going to be a moot point because 9 months ago, the Republican-led House passed the Private Property Rights Protection Act to prohibit the federal government from exercising its power of eminent domain for economic development. So guess what? Done and done. That law passes. There's no way TransCanada can use eminent domain to build their pipeline.
I absolutely support measures to limit eminent domain, but I strongly oppose an exemption for TransCanada, Keystone XL, and any other entity that cannot provide proof their projects are for the public benefit.
Oh, right! Unless the private property protection freedom fighters happen to include a small disclaimer in their eminent domain is evil law that states that it, quote, shall not apply to any project for which condemnation proceedings have been initiated prior to the date of enactment. In other words, any projects already in the pipeline. We'll be right back.
doucement en chantant des chansons. C'est si bon. Dire des mots doux, mais qui en disent en langue.
One family with one passion to make a superior rum. Bacardi, untamed since 1862.
What would you give someone who convinced you to follow your dreams with one cross-country road trip? The greatest gift for someone who gave you these moments is to give those moments back. Dewar's, the most awarded blended scotch in history.
Get more this Christmas at Kmart. Doorbuster starts 6 a.m. on Thanksgiving. Like 50% off the 7.5-foot Sheffield Holiday Pine Tree. Plus, more Doorbusters at 7 p.m. on Thanksgiving and 6 a.m. on Black Friday. Kmart, remembers always get more.
We're back again tonight. It's got a new film. It's called The Theory of Everything.
1, 2, 3. God, how does Jane manage?
Stephen, your motor mouth disease, does it affect,
What?
everything?
But no. Different system. Automatic.
You serious? Well, that's pretty wonderful, isn't it? Well, it certainly explains a lot about men.
Please welcome Eddie Redmayne. I'm doing very well. I'm doing very well. Thank you for being here. In a season of wonderful performances, it's been a season of wonderful performances in films. Your performance, your Stephen Hawking performance in this film is, for me, one of the most incredible. I don't understand how you did it, even physically. For those of you who haven't seen it, you embody, to the point where Stephen Hawking, I think, said, I felt like I was watching myself when I saw it. It was amazing.
That was very, that was a very kind thing you said. But thank you. It was for me, that having the privilege to play it was just the most extraordinary thing. And the extraordinary thing was also you. I think you were at the premiere.
I was at the premiere when you guys premiered it in Toronto.
I was so nervous, and I literally had come off stage, and the reaction had been kind to the film. And
the audience went nutty.
You were the first person I saw, and we had never met, and I virtually snogged you. I basically almost kissed you. I was so excited.
It was very excited, and then I believe I just followed you around the rest of the weekend, and never attained that plate again. Never attained that. It must have been very gratifying, but even just the physical transformation that you went through. How do you? Were there prosthetics involved? How did you embody his physical decline?
I can't. If you get cast like this, Someone's Extraordinary, Stephen, kind of, Charlie Cox, who's another actor in the film, an old friend, he said, when I got cast, if you get that opportunity, you kind of have no option but to give your everything. And so as soon as I got cast, I basically went to an ALS clinic in London and started kind of educating myself on the disease, and meeting people who suffer from it. It's such a brutal disease. But then also meeting Steve and getting to spend a bit of time with him, and I worked with a dancer who helped sort of find the physicality in my body. It was a long process, but wonderful.
And it never feels contrived. It always seems natural. When you meet someone with ALS, and you're saying to them, I'm going to play someone who suffers from a similar disease, does it give them any joy, or does it help them to share with you what they're going through? Do they feel like, oh, that's great, thanks, dramatize that, that's wonderful? Like, What's their sense of it?
No, it's a really good question. I mean, I went to these clinics every week or two in London, and the specialists would meet people who were suffering at the end. They would say that there's an actor here playing Stephen Hawking, and because Stephen was given 2 years to live, but has sort of broken all the rules, it's a real anomaly. It's he's a fit survived over 50 years. He's also a great bastion of hope, and across the board, people were so generous, and they would, because I do feel that sensitivity of, are you,
sure.
Yeah, but they would let me think things like feel feel what the muscles felt like, and there are these things called fasciculations, these little spasms that go through, that really, they were so keen to educate me, and it was great.
Does it feel like is it that it's rigid, or that it stiffens, or what happens?
But you basically have what are called upper neurons and lower neurons, and if the upper neurons go, there's a kind of rigidity. And if the lower neurons go, it's there's a softness. And ALS is a combination of those two. So trying to work out what Stephen's specific progression was, there's a brilliant YouTube of Stephen when he did zero gravity, and it's kind of the only time you can see him out of the chair, and you can see what is upper and what is lower. So that was kind of helpful.
Right.
Trying to work out what his progression is.
Is there a reason why, scientifically, that he has been able to sustain himself for this long? Have they pointed to something either genetically or within the diagnosis?
That's a great question. The answer is no. He has broken many rules. They don't know whether it's the specific strain of the illness. Since he was diagnosed at age 21, he's had very little interest. The illness has always been secondary to him.
Right.
But a lot of the specialists I met, so keen to meet him, to see what it is.
Is it strange that I now talk to you as though you're a neuroscientist?
It is.
You are, like, now you're my expert. You're like, if ever I have like a science question or like a health question, I am going to call you.
Thank you so much. Please feel free. Don't expect a lady. I know you had Jessica on last night. People keep saying, I want you to explain Interstellar to me.
Yes.
And I haven't seen it yet because I feel like if I don't see it, then I won't have to explain what it's
You won't
about.
have to explain anything. This is a whole week, I'm having actors on of movies that people would like to see more than mine. It's a whole week where I brought people on, and then they come on, I go like, your movie's great. Although.
But I went and saw your film.
Did you go?
I saw it this week. It was beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for doing that. It's a remarkable film, remarkable performance, and I slobbered all over you guys afterwards because I was so excited. It was such a great thing. So,
thank you.
Congratulations.
So nice.
Henry